Greetings and salutations, bruz.
Today we shall be looking into Evo 2? What the? Are we supposed to be making a video on the new game releasing? Surely we have another dinosaur showcase to review, right? Unfortunately, Frontier did not upload another one, so you better think of something to do with Evo 2 while we wait. Well, alright, I guess I can do something with Evo 2, but every Evo 2 DLC ranked! Of course, this shall be ranked from worst to best, and yes, this is my personal opinion, so deal with it. LOL. LOL! To begin, we have the worst DLC this game had to offer, as 3/4 of the species included I had already paid for in Evo 1 just to have to pay another $8 to have these freaks of nature in my parks. I love you, Spinoraptor. Now, of course, they got rid of the ugly Ankylodocus and gave it the glow-up it deserved, unlike Stegoceratops, who still got horns and plates all over the place, but the fourth species is a new inclusion, that being the Spinoceratops, which is just a bigger, omnivorous, less wrinkly Sinoceratops with a protruding spine. Also, the Indominus Lux skin is pretty cool. The next DLC is the Deluxe Upgrade pack, which was included at launch if you were willing to pay a few extra bucks, of course. The species in this pack include Megalosaurus, Pachyrhinosaurus, Attenborosaurus, Geosternbergia, and Huangosaurus. Okay, just reselling base game dinos. Okay, Frontier, I see how you is. Also, if you really care, they also gave us DPG skins for our Ranger team, MVU team, and Capture team, but I never used them, so yeah. Overall, it's a DLC that can be described by Protein Shake, as it's alright, just nothing really outstanding about it, to be honest. The early Cretaceous DLC was the first post-launch DLC, releasing exactly 1 month after Evo 2 came out, and apart from Kronosaurus replacing Liopleurodon as the go-to Pliosaurus, I don't have really much else to say, as the other species consists of another small pterosaur, stegosaurid, and a small Euoplocephalus, but Minmi is adorable, so I'll let it slide. Now, if I was in charge of making this DLC, I would keep all of the species except for Wuerosaurus, as there's nothing wrong with it, but I'd rather add another piscivore like Irritator rather than another stegosaurid, as we haven't had a non-omnivorous land piscivore since 2018. The Late Cretaceous DLC is a part 2 of sorts to the previous DLC, as it's another Cretaceous pack and it happens after the early Cretaceous period, so yeah, a sequel if you will. My favorite creature from this pack has to be the Australovenator, as it's our first Megaraptor in the Evolution series and has fantastic skins and patterns, with one resembling the Herrerasaurus from Jurassic Park the game. Alamosaurus and Styxosaurus are also pretty cool, as the Alamosaurus was a cool take on the iconic Saltosaurid, while the Styxosaurus was the second species in the game to be given bioluminescence, also being a very cool elasmosaurid. However, the biggest letdown of this DLC is the Barbaridactylus, as for some reason Frontier chose to put webbing on its crest, which completely ruined the unique shape of the crest and makes all Nyctosaurids a laughing stock.
Why you bullying me?
Up next, we have the Camp Cretaceous DLC, which surprisingly does not include any new species from the Cretaceous period, so this is just blatant lying. In all seriousness though, this pack is pretty good, as it gives you the beautiful Monolophosaurus, which will always be better than Proceratosaurus, that ugly being. And of course, you also get the bulldog, musty-looking Scorpius Rex, which is good skins. It just suffers from being ugly. This pack also gives us variants for Kentrosaurus and Ouranosaurus, which Kentrosaurus has good skins, unlike Ouranosaurus, which is very bland when it comes to extra coloring, because how do we go from this to this? And we can't forget all the skins this adds, with 2 giving the Parasaurolophus bioluminescence. Wow. Thanks, Lightning McQueen. Ka-chow! Anyways, it's a good DLC. Next. The Aquatic Species pack is an interesting DLC, as it made the aquatic roster bigger than the flying reptile roster for the rest of Evo 2's lifespan, but also gave us our first species from the Devonian, that being the Dunk. And yes, the Dunk is as iconic as my king LeBron James, yet it's somehow less appealing than the Plesiosaurus and an oversized turtle. What the hell are we doing, man? The Shonisaurus and Nothosaurus giving us more Triassic representation was very much appreciated, and the new rock platform for the Archelon and Nothosaurus for them to rest and chill. Now that's what I call a game changer. Overall, a great addition to the aquatic section of any park. Now, let's move on to number 5.
Purple guy!
Ah yes, the final DLC to be released during EVO 2's lifespan, the Park Manager's Collection Pack, adding the very asked for Segisaurus. What? I thought the selling point would be the Megalodon, or even the Thanatos Draken. You're telling me people would buy this for the Segisaurus?
Correct!
A great finale to EVO 2, as it added 3 very demanded species, and Thanatos Draken. Yeah, Frontier just felt like including them just to resell it to us a little over a year later. Overall, this DLC adds 2 big and 2 small species that overall has some of the greatest skins in this game, like holy moly guacamole, I love my galaxy flavored Microceratus. Anyways, this DLC is a thumbs up from me. The Malta Expansion was a very much needed DLC after the release of the Dominion Biosyn expansion, as we were still missing a pretty good chunk of the dinosaurs seen in the movie, and the scary Pterosauraptors, oh no! The cool WOW feature added to the game with this expansion was the Dino Market, where you could buy species, eggs, and genome to help build your parks, with this campaign being very similar to the one seen in Evolution 1. Also, I'd like to mention I very much like the Natural Lagoon in San Marie Bay, and hope to see something like it again in EVO 3. This DLC finally gave us the Battle of Big Rock Allosaurus 3 years after it released. Like, bro, what are we doing, man? If you were curious, yes, my favorite skin from this expansion is in fact the Demon Carnotaurus. I love its coloring and its chipped horn. Wow, look at the fuzzy little rat. One thing I find funny about this DLC is the inclusion of Moros Intrepidus rather than Microceratus, as Moros was seen at Biosyn but never in Malta, so I don't know what's up with that, but I like Moros, so I don't really mind, to be honest. This expansion also added the first omnivorous creature to the game, that being the Oviraptor, which needed both greens and meat. But don't ask about the eggs, because it will always tell you it was defending them, not eating them. Wowee, a perfect DLC for 4th place. Yeah. I may not be a furry, but I like my furry critters, because they are so adorable. I mean, just look at the hamster and tell me you don't want one of them as your own. Eutyrannus is a great inclusion, and is one of the few members of the Proceratosaurid family I'm willing to like. Dinochirus is also a great inclusion, as it's another omnivorous species, as it still needs its greens, but rather than meat, it wants fish. Jeholopterus, aka hamster, is the smallest thing you can find within your aviaries, but has colors that stand out from a mile, and is currently the only species that eats from the insectivore feeder. You may think that Sinosauropteryx is hard to spot within the grass, but with its raccoon-looking tail always sticking above it, it's not really a challenge to see this cute little trash bandit. The Feathered Species pack earned the 3rd place spot for me, as it expanded the feather roster even more and gave us species I use in almost every one of my parks now. Now, time to reveal 2nd place. The Cretaceous Predator pack is not only a very specific title for a DLC, but also my favorite dinosaur pack in all of Evolution 2, as it had some of the most unique carnivores to the game by far. The Utahraptor is a very cool and popular species that many people wanted to be added to Evolution, and Frontier took action and did a great job giving this movie-sized Velociraptor a cunning design with JP3 Raptor calls. I was very excited to see the inclusion of Concavinator, as it not only has a unique shaped hump, but it is also my favorite dinosaur, and Frontier did not let me down with this interpretation. Tarbosaurus is an interesting inclusion, as it's based on the one seen in Camp Cretaceous Hidden Adventure, which is now lost media, so who knows if Tarbo will come back looking the same in EVO 3. But if you hate Tarbosaurus, that's very tarbophobic of you. What the heck, man? The Gigantoraptor is basically a huge oviraptor that loves to kick and stomp on the skull of its enemy, so I'd prefer not to play Monopoly with it, as you bet there would be dookie in my pants because this 16-foot turkey is scurry. Also, Concavinator is being resold with Thanatos Draken, by the way. Call me basic if you must, but the Biosyn expansion is by far the best DLC Evolution has to offer, as it gives us the highlight species seen in Dominion, that being Dimetrodon, Pyroraptor, Quetzalcoatlus, and Therizinosaurus. This pack also gave us variants for the Crocodilosaurus, Giganotosaurus, and the Dreadnoughtus, which both look great and have endless amounts of colorful skin and pattern combos. One of my favorite parts from this DLC is the building set, as I love to build with the Biosyn facilities, as they look so sci-fi and mainly rely on the Hyperloop system which was introduced with this DLC. Why? Why did you do it, Frontier? Why did you get rid of this fluffy Rex and give us this raw-looking one instead? Also, I love the 3 paraskins we got from this. I just hope we can get a proper variant of it in Evo 3 with customizable skins and patterns. I tip my hat off to Frontier for creating the Pyroraptor, as I'm sure it proved quite a challenge, as it was one of the first fully feathered species to be added to the game. The Quetzalcoatlus is a great inclusion in this pack, as it is the biggest flying reptile that is huge compared to every other species in the game. I mean, I guess I didn't mind getting a kaiju in Evolution too. Ah, Therizinosaurus, you absolute beauty. I don't care what they say, your nails are magnificent and can slay any apex predator that gets in your way. But your skins are ugly. No offense. Sorry. This DLC also introduced one of my favorite small carnivores to the game, that being one of my greatest ancestors, the Dimetrodon, as it's a quadruped and has a sail almost as iconic. Oh no. Oh my god. Oh, phew. Thank God. It was just a dream. Anyways, I hope you enjoyed my ranking. You already forgot how I ranked them? Bruh. Here's a quick recap. If you want my tier list, here, take it, do what you want with it. Did you enjoy my ranking? Let me know in the comments down below how you would personally rank the DLCs of Evo 2. I'd love to see what others think. Anyways, I hope you enjoyed this video. Now go and have a fan-flippin-tastic day. Also, frick Proceratosaurus.